Welcome and happy Tuesday. So you are live with It's All About Choices. And today we are doing our up close and personal segment. So I do one of these monthly, and I'm very excited to have our very special guest, Miss Marion McPherson-Davis. And how are you feeling today, Miss Marion?
I am feeling wonderful. I'm doing great today.
Awesome. And I want to thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule to share your powerful and your personal testimony and journey with everybody, because I know that it is relatable, okay?
Yes.
And I have titled Miss Marion's story is How Marion Lost 16.4 pounds in just 2 months, despite years of yo-yo dieting and feeling discouraged about ever losing the weight once and for all. And so she has a very engaging, very relatable story. And if those of you who can relate to that, just simply post in the chat that you relate, because many of us have been down that road, we're going down that road, and we just feel defeated. And so she is definitely going to be a source of inspiration for each and every one of you. And Miss Marion, she is a career woman, she is a wife, she's a mother, she's a grandmother, and at 68 years young, I will repeat that, she is 68 years young, she looks amazing, and she is enjoying the journey of getting her sexy back, I like to say. She's putting on clothes that she hasn't worn in years already. So we're just 2 months into this thing. So the beauty of this is she is a current client. And so that's one reason why I'm really, really excited to have her on, because we're still going through this together. And so now, yes, you're going to hear from her yourself, okay? And as we are going through this, I want to encourage each of you to post any comments, post any questions. And so even though this is a replay, I will look at the comments and I will respond and answer any questions. And if you have any specific questions for Miss Marion, and if I'm not able to answer them, then I will ask her and then I will get back with you. So feel free to comment throughout this segment. And so Miss Marion, share with our viewers what your line of work is and what you do for a living.
I have put a lot of work in changing my lifestyle, and it's not just with a diet. It's I think it started with a mental change. A lot of things that I fought and didn't accept, I finally caved and decided to give myself, a try at something different. And so far, the journey has been great. It has been eye-opening for me. I'm not even looking at my experience now as dieting. It's totally, for me, a lifestyle change. And it's something that I feel, it's just part of my life now. And that's the way I'll be living, not dieting, but just eating.
Okay.
Not depriving myself, just eating properly.
And at what age would you say your weight loss journey began?
I felt like I was always trying to lose weight. Even when I look back at my life now, times when I was trying to lose weight, I was skinny. I was skinny, but perception at the time was like, I wanted to wear a smaller size. But I think my real earnest start would be, let's say 30 years ago, after I had my daughter, I developed a thyroid issue. And the weight started to pile on. I don't think at that time I was even aware, I don't think I didn't see myself as overweight. I'd look in the mirror and I say, oh, I'm not overweight, you're looking fine. But then I realized that I would buy a piece of garment that I thought looked like it would fit me, and I got home and I couldn't get my leg into it. And then I just realized I was just gaining so much weight, and my size just kept climbing and climbing until I think I was probably like at 24.
Okay.
And so now here came the struggle to try and get my weight under control while I'm battling hypothyroidism.
Mhm.
And I was just stuck, and I felt like everything I tried, I wasn't successful at. Um, I tried numerous things, but I just felt stuck,
Yeah.
So I felt like maybe 30 years ago, so that would have, I think 30 because my kid is now 30.
Okay.
So that's like 38 years
Yeah, 38
that
years.
I've been trying, to get my weight under control.
Wow.
Yeah.
And share some of the diets that you tried, like the names and some of the
Mm.
things that you had
I,
to do.
I I tried everything. I tried liquid diets where the most one that I could think of, the earliest liquid diet I tried was one called HMR, which is Health Management Resources.
Hmm.
And it was very expensive. I was living in California at the time,
Mhm.
and I was very successful at this diet. I really gave up all the food, and I would just live on 5 shakes per day, liquid. And I exercised, and my weight dropped off. And I did a program at a hospital in LA, and they did, like after weighing and everything, they did have a session where they taught nutrition. But to be very honest, I don't know, maybe I wasn't paying attention, but it's not nutrition as I now understand it. So
Okay.
I felt like after my successes, I didn't know what comes next.
Mhm.
So I'll just go back to my regular eating. And of course, the thing is, once you start a liquid diet and you finish and you start to eat, it comes right back on.
Yeah.
And before you know it, and that's not the first one I did. After
How
I
much
moved
did you
here,
lose? Yeah,
um,
how much weight did you lose on this particular?
at the time, the first time I did it, I
Uh-huh.
really wasn't that heavy. I was much lighter than I am now. I probably was about 170. And I quickly dropped down. I think I was 120 something. So I'd lost a lot of weight.
Wow, 50 pounds. Yeah.
But before you know it, I was way back up. And by the time I moved here to Orlando in 2000,
Mhm.
by the time we got here, I was probably maybe like a size 18. And within a couple of years, I was probably up to a 22, 24. And I decided to give it another try. And I did Medifast.
Okay.
When I went to Medifast, the first day, and my weight was at 274.
Okay.
And I felt awful. I felt uncomfortable. I felt I just didn't feel like me. I felt,
Mhm.
out of sorts. And so I gave it a go. And I lost weight on Medifast. And then I went back to regular eating, and the weight came back.
Mhm. Now, what are the require like what were some of the things you had to do on Medifast? Because I know that's something that a lot of people have heard of.
Well, Medifast, Medifast was kind of like a modified fasting diet when I did it. So it was liquids, and then they also have choices of meals.
Okay.
Um, but there were still Medifast meals.
Okay.
So the whole food source came from Medifast.
Okay.
And basically the thing. That's all. You didn't eat fruits, you didn't eat vegetables, you didn't eat salad. You just had Medifast food. And
Was it frozen or something? Was
no,
it okay?
no, they weren't frozen. They had shakes,
Okay.
and they had, meals, dinners, really is what they call it. So I
Okay.
think they advocated doing shakes during the day, and then you'd have a meal
Okay.
at night.
Okay.
I think later on they kind of evolved where they allowed you a salad, in addition.
Mm.
But I did that. I did that for a while until I couldn't afford it anymore,
Okay.
or I got bored,
Mhm.
and felt deprived.
Okay.
And so what would happen would be that I'd have the Medifast meals, and then I'd still have my, regular meal
Mhm.
at the same time. So I was kind of double eating.
Okay.
And
Mm.
the weight came back. The weight
Mhm.
came back.
Mhm. Okay.
Um, I tell you, I went on what really, really got me going. I had this really bad sciatica pain as well, where if I walked one block, I would be in horrible pain. I used to just sit on the sidewalk because
Mm.
with sciatica, the moment you sit, the pain goes.
Mm.
And I would do that. But I went on a cruise, and they come around and take those pictures. And when I tried to find myself in those pictures, I just couldn't find myself. And I remember seeing my husband with his arm around a lady, and I was like, what is he doing hugging up that woman? It
Yeah.
was me. And I just said it out loud. I thought I was saying
Mhm.
it to myself, but I said it out loud. Oh my God, I don't even look like me. And then and there, I said to myself, when I get off this cruise ship, I'm really, really going to work at it. And I did. I started walking. I'd sit down whenever I felt the pain, but I would push myself. Every week, I'd change my goal to go a little further. And then finally, I can walk again. I just thought I'd never walk again. And
Mhm.
I, I got my weight down, to a good, manageable size. And then I kind of just yo-yo up
Okay.
and down, up and down, but never truly getting to the point where I want to be, and still
Right.
not really having any confidence that I would ever, successfully lose some weight and
Mm.
keep it off.
And keep it off. Yeah. What were some of the side effects, would you say, from the diets, like headaches or brain fog? What were some of the things you experienced?
Mm, Luckily for me, I have
Okay.
a lot of energy. I didn't have fatigue. I didn't have headaches. My energy level was the same.
Okay.
I didn't have problems sleeping. I didn't experience those things. Even with my thyroid issue, I
Mhm.
should have been having fatigue or trouble sleeping, but I never experienced any, of those things. But once I was able to walk,
Mhm.
I just kept going at it,
Yeah.
and just promised myself that even if I'm not dieting, I'd never stop walking,
Mhm. Okay.
because I feel the walking was key to getting rid of that sciatica pain,
Mhm.
you
Mhm.
know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so that's
Good.
that's where I am.
That's good. How would you describe before we got together? How would you describe your relationship with carbs?
Carbs are the devil. That's how
Very
I
common
felt.
answer. Yeah.
I felt that don't look at carbs. If you look at carbs, you're gonna gain weight.
Mhm.
Um, I stopped eating bread. I stopped eating rice.
Mhm.
I stopped eating white potatoes, anything white. Um, I just stopped eating because, carbs was the devil. And I'm allergic to carbs. And if I look at them, I'm just going to gain a ton of weight. And so I just cut carbs out almost completely out of my diet.
Yeah. Now, how would you describe cravings or stress eating?
I feel that my eating is grounded in emotions. Growing up in Jamaica as a child, we never got sweets until we got sick. The minute you got sick, you weren't feeling well. That's when mom comes with a piece of cake, or something sweet because she wants it. And, it's a treat. And so that's grounded in my head that when you feel out of sort, you get some comfort food. And comfort food for me is sweets, so I really, really have a sweet tooth, but it's from childhood. It's what I know. It's what I grew up with.
Yeah.
That food is comfort.
Yeah. And you know what? That's very interesting that you bring that up, because a lot of the stress eating or the emotional eating, or if we're overwhelmed or if we're feeling some kind of way, food is like where we go to try to solve that problem. And a lot of times it does come from childhood. Like, we get rewarded. Sometimes we get rewarded with food, like, oh, we did good, you got a good grade, let's go celebrate, let's go eat. But in your case, it was you were sick and you're not feeling well, so you got rewarded. So it's amazing how something that's innocent, and
I even found myself when my kid was in elementary school, that I had started to do the same thing. Like every Friday, I'd get her this special little treat, a sweet. And I had to stop myself. So instead of getting her the sweet, I'd get her like a stuffed animal,
Good.
And yeah, so I'd get her, at the time, Lion King was popular. So I'd get her Nylon. Next week, I'll get her Simba. So I started to give her those kind of things instead of giving her sweets.
Sweets, yes. That's good.
Because I realized it's something I'm innocently passing on to her, and you love her and she loves the sweets and you want her to be happy, so it's like changing my mindset. So I didn't pass that on to her because I know what the experience is for myself. And I didn't want that to be her experience.
That's good. Because we don't think about that kind of stuff. And so now she can just kind of not associate. We call that non-food rewards. Like, if you lose, like you need a weight goal, go get a pedicure, versus treating yourself to ice cream or something. Well, that's amazing. So a lot of people feel like they can go at it alone. Okay. So you did this thing for over 30 years, and we all think that, we should be able to do it on our own. We should be able to figure it out. But sometimes it's difficult without help. And so, what you mentioned, the cruise story, which is very, very impactful, but what made you decide to call and to reach out and to get some help?
Okay. So, my endocrinologist says I have signs of insulin resistance, and the real word for that is pre-diabetic. And that really scares me. And so he would say, I need you to lose some weight, I need you to lose some weight. And I say, yeah, I'm going to lose some weight. And like I said, I gave up carbs. And I'm still not losing any weight. I feel like I'm eating good, healthy food, and I'm not seeing any weight loss. And I said, I think my problem is I don't know how much to eat. So even if I'm eating something that is considered healthy, I don't know how much of it I should have. So since I started the program with you, Sandra, I look back because I used to make pumpkin soup, for example. And I felt like, because it's soup, I can have a lot of soup. And when I look back now, I mean, I would have a big bowl of soup when in reality, I should only be having 1 cup. So I was overeating on the good stuff, and fruits. I would eat maybe 5, 6 servings of fruits for the day. Overeating on the fruits, overeating on protein, and even though the starches weren't there, I was overeating on what I would call the good stuff. And I just figured I don't know portions. And I talked to my endocrinologist and I said, I feel like I really need to get a nutritionist. And they have a program at the hospital, but he says, I don't want you to do that program because I don't have follow-up. And if you don't have follow-up, you're not going to be successful. And I had an experience with one of their nutritionists, and I felt a little turned off. And I just went online and started to look, and then I found you. And I also found that one of the things, a lot of the nutritionists that I saw, they mainly deal with eating disorders. I wanted to find someone who deal with weight management.
Yes, absolutely.
And I felt lucky when I came across you.
I'm so glad we connected because you've been very, very inspirational. Now, let me ask you this now. Do you wish that, you would have reached out for help sooner, and why? Like, if you looking back in retrospect, like when do you wish you would have actually?
Yeah, because I feel like I always felt that I needed like a quick fix. I felt like I needed to be accountable to somebody. And I think those were reasons that drove me to do stuff like Medifast or, HMR. You go and you have somebody you sit with and you talk to and they weigh you and you feel motivated to keep at the program because they're going to put you on the scale and they're going to see that you didn't lose any weight or something must be wrong, she's cheating or, stuff like that. But I deprived myself for so long, not having the bread. I'm not really in love with the carbs, I like bread and I like some rice, but it's not really a problem if I really had to give it up. But knowing that I can have it,
yes,
like it's okay, I can have it in the proper amount. I feel like I wasted a lot of time and I feel like I wasted a lot of money, a lot of self-doubt, and even when I started with you, I'm like very skeptical that I'm gonna be successful eating bread and potatoes and beans and stuff like that. There was a lot of self-doubt. But the more I continue with the program is the more, I would go on the scale. I'm still frightened of the scale, but I'll go on the scale and I say, oh my God, I lost some weight,
Now,
and
there's a couple of things I want to point out that you've mentioned here. So let's talk about the carb thing, because you are not alone with the fear of carbs, and that's just what we hear out there. And the pumpkin soup that you made and love so much, that's a carb. You may not have realized that's a carb. It's a starch. And those are good foods. We want the fruit. We want the rice, the pasta, all these things, the corn, all these things that diets will throw out because it helps our brain function. It helps our metabolism. It helps our bone health. It helps our immune system. But again, everybody has the different amounts that they need, but it's I call it the dieting mindset. So it's very difficult. Miss Marion was very fearful. She was like, oh, I don't know about this thing. She felt too much food, but I'm like, I thank her for trusting me because this is very common, and it's like people are so broken sometimes when they come to me because of what they have experienced, and we have and we have to break that mold and share about the scale, because Miss Marion was walked into this very fearful of the scale, and share how you felt in the past, like if the scale didn't move the way you felt it should move, share that.
I'm petrified of the scale, and I'm petrified of the scale because it controlled me, and it's the power that would decide what I do next. So if I went a whole week exercising, watching my diet properly, and I go on that scale and it didn't move, I'd say, oh, what's the point? Because I'm wasting my time. And then I just get off the whole program completely and just, because it's not working. I looked at the scale as the only measurement of success. So if these numbers aren't dropping, that means I'm not being successful. I'm not doing something right. Now, I still don't like to go on the scale. I tremble. I look at the scale and say, oh my God, I'm going to have to go on the scale. Even when I go to the doctor, I don't want to go on the scale. But I look at the scale now as only one measurement. My clothes are fitting. I'm wearing clothes that I've worn. I mean, I have every size clothes you can imagine. And I am now wearing smaller clothes. I put a blouse on and oh my God, I could button it all the way to the bottom. Usually I'd stop one below the bottom, but now I could go all the way to the bottom, or the pants just zip right up to the side. I have a dress in there that I've been trying on. I'm sorry I didn't take a picture of myself every time I tried on, but I couldn't button the thing. And about 2 weeks Friday, I put it on and it just buttoned and it was loose. And I was like, oh my God, even though the scale may only shifted 2 pounds in 3 weeks, but I mean, I could wear that dress. And so I decided every time I try on a dress that doesn't fit right, I'm going to take a picture.
Exactly.
And then the next time.
Yes. And on that point, a lot of women use the scale as the marker, and it sets their mood for the day. And I wanted to speak on that. Is the scale is only one marker, like she mentioned. Think of it as checking your temperature. But the bigger marker in this case is the inches. If you see your clothes, or you're getting into clothes that you haven't been able to wear, if you're feeling better, if somebody says your skin is clearer, and your blood pressure is lower, all of those things play a role in the equation. The scale is going to go up, the scale is going to go down, but at the end of the day, it's all of it that goes into the equation. And losing, I think you had mentioned 2 pounds in 3 weeks is good. So remember, one of the things that Miss Marion and I had to work on, 1 to 2 pounds is healthy weight loss. And of course, when you diet, you probably, you're losing 30 pounds in 30 days. So that's exciting. Well, but what good is that, right? You can't keep it off.
I have no patience. One thing my family know about me is that I absolutely have zero patience. And so it translates to the diet. I mean, I diet today and I go on that scale, I want to say 10 pounds gone. And so I have to change my mindset. My husband helps me a lot. You're not going to lose weight every week. And then 2 weeks, you'll see the drop, of 4 pounds. And like I told you, my sister, she tried, and she said weeks would go by and not a sign, nothing budges, and she just keeps going and going, and then it's there. So I've tried. I'm changing my mindset to that point. That if I go on the scale and it doesn't change, don't get discouraged. Just keep at it. It will show. It will show up
Oh yeah.
On the
But her
scale
scale has been
eventually.
changing though. That's what she hasn't shared that. Every time she gets on the scale, it's changing. It's going down for her. But big thing that I asked Ms. Marion to do just is pictures. And so we took a picture at the very beginning, remember? And then as we've gone through this journey, because we were at the 2-month mark, she was about 16-pound loss, and I was like, take a picture. And that is when you can really see the results, because she might say, because of her history, 16 pounds in 2 months, that's nothing. But when but it's really a lot, and it's real weight. It's not water, it's not muscle, it's real weight. But when she looked at those pictures from when we started and 2 months later, she was amazed. I was blown away too.
Someone at work said to me one day last Friday, "What's going on with you? You look so different." She said, it's like you have this hourglass figure. So she can't quite put her hand on it, but she's noticing that I'm looking different.
Exactly.
So I haven't really shared. I did tell her, I said I'm doing a nutrition class, because that's the way I view it. It's learning from scratch, nutrition. And, like one of the things, food, everything that you put in your mouth matters, and it counts toward your daily intake. And I never used to view it as such. So, cooking and tasting, you're having so much, you're having a whole serving. And you're not counting that. Or you feel peckish after dinner and you go have a handful of crackers and you're not counting that. And it all counts. It all counts. So I'm mindful now of everything I put in my mouth, and I'm mentally tabulating it and adding it to my daily intake. And I say, oh no, I can't have that. I already had enough of starches, I already had enough dairy. But it's there mentally. I'm aware of it.
And the beauty of it is, I always tell people, it's the 80-20 rule. And so once you gain that empowerment, because now Miss Marion is more empowered, she knows what she's eating, and we're going to have our days when we do overindulge, and that's okay when and now she knows that one indulgence is not going to derail everything that she's done. Is if you continue for weeks, yes, but that one thing won't. And so what I wanted to ask you is, what are the top 3 things that we've done together so far that you found most helpful to your success so far?
Tracking. Tracking, especially at the beginning, because I was just learning about the proper nutrition. I was just learning which foods count in which category. So tracking it and looking at it would help me. Like, I pack my meal in the night for the day, and just going on that would be a big guide for me as to what I'm to pack to stay true to what it is I'm doing. Also, just mindful, just be mindful, and not looking at this as a diet, but truly as a way of life. And I mean, it's something that I see that I'm doing. I don't feel like, oh, I'm just doing this for a couple months.
Right.
I feel like this is it now for me. This is how I'm eating. I'm thinking about, a lot of this stuff now is normal, it's natural. And I don't see going back to eating the way I used to eat, because it doesn't fit in with my lifestyle anymore. And I don't feel deprived. And I'm finding other ways to, I find other things to fill in. If I feel like, oh, I'd like a little snack, even though I'm not hungry because it's a habit, I'll do something else that I like.
That's
Like,
nice.
let me go see if I could get in these pants, you know,
Good,
or
good.
let me go on the computer and surf clothing, you know, but I'll go do something else that I enjoy doing, um, and get the thought away from my head.
That's good. And that's good that you do that because we call it redirection because it's habit. And so when we act on it so quickly, then we just go to the kitchen, but you kind of directed yourself to do something different and you forgot
Yeah,
all about it and it
yeah,
passed. And because if you really, really wanted it, it would have just stayed on you, and I always encourage, hey, have the
yeah.
cookie, get it out your system so you won't eat the whole bag.
Yeah,
And that's
I
good.
know, so bad. And
Right. And so since
when I'm
making,
able, when I'm able to say, oh no, I can't have it because I've had enough.
Mhm.
For the day, sometimes I'll have some ginger tea instead, but when I wake up in the morning,
Mhm.
I feel truly accomplished.
Yeah,
You
that's
know, I
nice.
feel truly accomplished that
Yes.
I didn't cave,
You didn't cave in.
so I don't feel awful because
Mm.
I caved and then I can't forgive myself, you know, and then it's a pattern. So now I feel so horrible
Yeah.
that you kind of spiral out of control because now you try to eat
Mhm.
something to feel better,
Yeah,
you know, and then it takes a while before you get a hold of yourself again and
absolutely.
get back on track.
That's real
So,
talk. Yes, that is
yeah,
real talk, and that's real. Now, since making these changes, you're working on these behavior changes, these lifestyle changes, and my goal for you and everybody is to where this is a lifestyle where no matter what the storm is, no matter what's going on in life, you still have these habits because it's like blinking, it's like walking, it's like breathing. And so
yeah.
since being on this journey, what would you say that you're able to do that you weren't able to do before? Like what has changed ultimately, would you say, for you?
Um, well, I can walk much faster.
That's good.
My, I, when I got out to walk before, my body felt heavy.
Mm,
Um, I felt like I was struggling. I would walk, but it was a chore. I
mm,
could really feel that I was putting everything I had into it um,
mm.
to keep going. I felt motivated to walk, but I just couldn't do it with gusto. But now I can really walk really fast, and
Mhm.
it used to take me almost an hour to walk my regular walk. I'm doing that like in 45 minutes. As a
Yes,
matter
yeah.
of fact, one day I went back to the office and when I checked my activity on the phone, I had done it in 40 minutes.
Yes,
And
yeah.
I took my calculator out and I keep tabulating. I said,
Mhm.
what? You know, I
Yes,
did this
yes,
in
yes.
40 minutes. That's
We've been doing,
amazing.
yeah, I think you're doing more than a 15-minute mile. So you're doing great.
Yeah, yeah.
Which is great. Yeah.
So yeah, when I go out to walk, it's easy. My body feel light, and I can put more into it.
Yes,
I could
yes,
walk faster. I could put more into it.
yes. And my
So
Yes, and my final question, any words of wisdom that you have for those who are listening to you, who are in the position that you were in for all those years? What advice would you give to them?
I think for me, the biggest obstacle is carbs, the relationship with carbs, and feeling that if I have carbs, I'm not going to lose weight. And I struggle to get that out of my head because I feel like people in my age group we grew up hearing that if you want to lose weight, you can't have bread, you can't have potatoes, you can't have, all these foods. And it's there, and you kind of I felt like I couldn't be successful eating those things. So when I say I'm on a diet, those things go out the window. But actually, I feel that if I didn't go on a diet, but just adopt a different lifestyle, a different outlook at what I'm going to eat, change my opinions about some of the foods. My husband always say, you don't eat for taste, you eat to live. Well, when I go to the market now, my cart, it has a lot of vegetables in there that, I probably never would bother with. I don't feel like I ate a lot of vegetables before. I don't like salad. I feel like I just left that food group out totally. But now when I go and I come back, I unpack my groceries, there's a lot of vegetables. I have the carbs. I feel like I choose all different carbs, rice, the brown rice, butternut squash. So I feel like my best approach is not thinking of this as a diet, but really thinking of it as my lifestyle and learning portion control and planning, a lot of planning. I feel I just can't go to work tomorrow without having my food set aside. So I feel that it's important to plan. Put your food, I put my stuff together overnight, and in the morning out the fridge into my bag, and I just know what I'm gonna do. Yogurt is a new thing for me because I would totally avoid yogurt. So now I'm into it. Nuts also was one of those taboo foods, but now a part of my diet. So I think that's basically changing my outlook, looking at nutrition differently. My willingness to try, new foods and not just sticking to, I can avoid the rice or just have my serving. I know what the serving is, and I'm contented with it. At this moment, I don't want to think about the scale, but I feel changing my relationship with the scale is also important. And focus on the other positives like inches and how good I'm feeling.
Right.
And I think, I think that makes the biggest thing.
Thank you. That's good. That's good. And food is medicine. And I think that's what you're experiencing. Food is medicine. It's not evil when it's done right. And you now have that insight, and you continue to gain that insight on how to make food work for you, because now you're going to go to the doctor, your labs, you're going to see improvement in labs, you're going to see improvement in blood pressure. I mean, all of those things are important.
I feel so much better. I really do.
Amen.
I feel so much better. I just look forward. Like I say, I'm not dreading going back or eating and I'm gonna gain weight and stuff. That's not how I'm viewing it. This is my new way of eating. And as long as I continue in this vein, I'm gonna be successful.
And and I think knowing that there's nothing off limits. I mean, there is truly nothing off limits. And so that does a lot for the mindset. So that's awesome. So I thank you so much for sharing. I know you have really impacted and inspired a lot of women who have been struggling. And I know that you're going to make an impression on them. And one, they'll know they're not alone. And so I thank you again for tuning in and sharing and being so candid and being so transparent. And for those who, again, feel free to chime in, to post any comments, any questions, anything that you would like to ask Ms. Marion, please go ahead and do that. And we will get your questions answered. And next week, we will tune in, same time, same handle, same channel. And I thank you for tuning in. And Bye and have a great rest of your day. Blessings and healthy.
Thank you. Thank you, Sandra. And I'm so grateful to have found you.
Amen.
I mean, it's just wonderful because I felt kind of frustrated with the experiences I came up across with the other people. I just felt like I wasn't gonna be compatible with them after I spoke with them. But after I spoke with you, I felt like, yeah, I think this is it for me. So I'm very thank you and your patience and
Oh yes.
You're appreciate it.
Long you meet me a little bit, I'm there.
Yeah. I needed this. I needed the nutrition class. That's how I look at it.
Amen. Amen.
And you're a wonderful teacher.
Thank you. Thank you. And the thing is, like I said, is you're eating everything. So there's no
Yeah,
like
I am.
What to do next. This is it.
Yeah.
Awesome.
And I actually enjoy the food I'm having.
Yeah, it's your food.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm enjoying it. Yeah, I really am.
Yes. Well, thank you. And thank you for tuning in. And again, we'll see you all next week. Thank you. And
all righty.
bye-bye.